Another important thing about the creative class is what I call as latent inhibition. What you see on the screen over here is a very interesting gentleman by the name John Nash. There's a very fascinating movie made on him by the name A Beautiful Mind, which got our man Russell Crowe win the Oscar, and John Nash won the Nobel Prize in Economics for his work on game theory. I don't know how many have seen the movie, but the movie is an amazing movie, and I strongly suggest you watch that movie. What happens in the movie is a depiction of this man's thinking. He is known to be suffering from a mental disorder called schizophrenia. What happens in schizophrenia is that it manifests itself into two dimensions. One dimension is called paranoia. Paranoia means that somebody is conspiring against me, a bunch of people are going to kill me if I cross my 18 minutes. That's called paranoia. The second thing is called hallucination. Hallucination means start imagining. For example, what I'm doing right now is again a bunch of people listening to me intently. That's called hallucination. If you combine hallucination with paranoia, that becomes schizophrenia. Now the interesting thing is this. For many years, scientists had this very fascinating finding. The finding was the brain mapping of people who are schizophrenic is quite similar to the brain mapping of people who are highly creative. Now how is that possible? Does it mean then that the people who are schizophrenic are bound to be more creative? Or worse still, does it mean that the people who are highly creative are bound to be schizophrenic? Which is a very disturbing thought, isn't it? There is a correlation, but there is no causality. One doesn't lead to another. Both of them perhaps work together. Recently, there was this very interesting research paper that came out in one of the magazines. And this figure popped out in the research paper, what you see on the screen. Allow me a minute to explain this figure to you, and this will be quite an eye-opener to all of you. It was to me, actually. What you see on the screen are two categories of people. One with a moderate IQ and one with a very high IQ. Let's look at IQ. What is IQ? IQ is your mental age divided by your chronological age multiplied by 100. That's your IQ score. Mental divided by chronological into 100 is IQ score. Generally, IQ score ranges from about 100 to about 160. Anybody about 160 is called a genius. Anybody below 100 is called mentally retarded. Most of us have an IQ of about 110 at home and 1.5 at office. Depends on the designation, however. And 110 at home also depends upon if you are married or not. Having said that, pay attention to this particular image. On the y-axis, you have something called creative achievement score, which also suggests that yes, creativity can be measured. Like intelligence can be measured with IQ score, even creativity can be measured. And how the creativity part can be measured, that's for some other time and some other day. But remember this one important thing. So two set of people, moderate IQ about say 110 and high IQ about 150. And then you're trying to measure their creative scores. You have two cohorts. One with a high latent inhibition and second with a low latent inhibition. Let me explain this to you. What is latent inhibition? We all have inhibitions in our life. Inhibitions hold us back to express, hold us back to listen, put constraints onto ourselves which does not allow us to be free and express ourselves. What this image shows is very interestingly that the people who have a low IQ, now pay close attention to all of, and especially the parents amongst you, the parents or maybe tomorrow's parents, today's tomorrow. The people with a low IQ score are far more creative than the people with a high IQ score, provided their inhibitions are low. Which means what? Which means that between intelligence and attitude, it's attitude that matters and not intelligence. If I tell this to my dad, he wouldn't agree. Because all his life and all my life, the only thing he focused on was how good am I scoring in school? Intelligence. Now when my teacher walked into my classrooms, this is what she asked me, that hey Pavan, what is 5 into 2? And the answer was 10. Had my teacher asked a slightly different question this time, not what is 5 into 2, she would have asked me, Pavan, tell me, what are the various ways I can come up to the number 10? The answer could have been, and all of us would have started yelling out actually, the answer could have been 5 plus 5, 5 into 2, 2 into 5, 10 into 1, 11 minus 1, 9 plus 1, 8 plus 2, 13 minus 3. You see, the moment I change the question From one answer, which is 10, I have so many answers. So what is more important is not the answer. What is more important is the question. And more so in the Google economy. In the Google economy, I don't need to know the answer actually. I just need to know the question. What's my search phrase? That's more important, because there are zillions of results that Google is throwing at me in milliseconds, and I'm not even willing to go beyond the page number 1. And that's why questions are very important. And having low inhibitions are very, very important. Don't be so critical about what others are saying. It's perfectly okay. It's absolutely okay. Because I know for a fact that if you give too much heed to people around you, possibly you're not paying attention to yourself. And somebody said it very rightly, that the recipe of success is not known, but the recipe of failure is your intent or your desire to please everybody around yourself. So have inhibitions low. It's okay. If you are going to a room, going to a conference where people are completely strangers to you, it's okay. If you're talking about something where you are not sounding very intelligent, it's okay. It's absolutely okay to have the mind of a child in the body of an adult. And believe me, this will do a lot of good to all of us. So have inhibitions in control. Don't have a very high level of alertness. Your alertness has to be low. You should be open to small stimulus around yourself. Small things. Start enjoying small things and start drawing connection on small things. And that's very critical in my opinion. Another important